Good afternoon. Thank you so much, Robert. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Latino Style Magazine for the many wonderful things that they provide to small business owners, to our Spanish communities, and throughout the entire country. And my name is Veronica Tubman, as Robert had said. I am a member of the Internal Revenue Service, and I have the pleasure of serving out of the Fallon Federal Building in Baltimore, Maryland. So basically, IRS has been working really hard to deliver economic impact payments, information. Your best resource is to access www.irs.gov/EIP. We have a wide variety of frequently asked questions. So let's get started on our PowerPoint presentation to get you up to date with all of the information related to the economic impact that we have now. Staying active, healthy, connected, and productive. Economic impact payments, updates, and resources. And let's get right into our presentation. What I have done, I have taken the time to go onto irs.gov, which should be a favorite of yours, and pull down resources that are so extremely important to you. Okay, just give me one moment. I am told that I cannot be heard, so let me just check. Okay, there we go. That's better. So what I have done, I went on to irs.gov to pull down some screenshots and resources to assist you with. What you have on the screen now is information for individuals and families, which gives us some key points to go from, and also businesses and tax-exempt entities. By clicking on those tabs, they will provide you with additional information regarding individuals and families and business and tax-exempt entities, health plans and retirement plans, which is so important. At the very bottom of this particular screen, you will see partner materials that you can share as a part of your outreach materials. And at that point, you just click on those and they will make themselves available. Whenever you access irs.gov, just make sure you take a look at the bottom of the screen to make sure that the information is current. Moving right along. These particular key messages and information are also available in Spanish, so that we ask that you and share this information in English and in Spanish. And this is the same slide that I just shared with you a few moments ago. So make sure that you share this important information throughout your community, on your newsletters, emails, and through social media as well. Moving along. As we had said, the IRS is working to deliver the economic impact payments as quickly as possible. As soon as the legislation is received, we move along. More than 150 million payments are going out, and millions of people who normally don't file a tax return, they're eligible to receive these payments as well. So to reach these people outside the tax system, IRS is asking for your help to spread the word so more people sign up for these payments worth $1,200 or more, depending upon your situation. The IRS has created special information and graphics that you can use, share, and adapt in your particular communities. And as we had said, emails, newsletters, websites, and other channels. Most of all, the Get My Payment tool tracks your payments, and it helps with your bank information. The IRS had designed this new tool. You just click on that, and it will help to assist and track your refunds so that you will know where your funds are. Some taxpayers don't have scheduled payments or direct deposits, so you will receive a paper check. Next. Okay, so for coronavirus, excuse me, tax relief for businesses and tax exempt entities, that's our second tab. This is a screenshot, as we had said, directly from irs.gov, and it gives us important information about filing and payment deadline extensions, employee retention credits. We're extending that assistance to our vital and most important small business owners and self-employed individuals that are financially impacted by COVID-19. And this particular slide provides you with all the specifics related to tax relief for businesses and tax exempt entities. Moving on. What I have taken an opportunity to, the Internal Revenue Service prides itself on making sure that the information is forwarded to all of our taxpayers. So we have Spanish economic impact tweets to share. Basically talks about our check and also any payments that you have regarding credits as they relate to the coronavirus. And as stated before, let me go over that IRS link with you again. It is www.irs.gov/EIP, Economic Impact Tweets. We're moving along. The most important part of the economic impact payments that affect individuals and businesses is the frequently asked questions. Avail yourself to go online and take a look at them, and they are listed. And these particular and very important questions have come from practitioners, individuals like yourself. So who is eligible? Online, you click that and that will provide you with the eligibility requirements and accessing Get My Payment, those most important questions that you have. So the most important part about frequently asked questions is that they come directly from you, and that makes it so important, because if you have a question, there may be someone else that may have a very similar question to yours. And that is the purpose of the frequently asked question. And moving on. Okay. And thank you so very much. Robert, handing it back over to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Veronica. I know that the inundation of emails and requests that the system must be receiving must be at an all-time high. So whenever you try to reach the IRS, just be patient. You know, sometimes you're going to be put on a phone call that is going to take you some time to get through it. You just have to be patient. There's nothing that we can do these days. You know, when you have millions and millions of requests coming in, everybody's doing the best that they can. Now it is my great pleasure to introduce you to a very good friend, longtime friend of Latina Style and a partner through the years, Mr. Alan Gutierrez, who's the Associate Administrator of the Office of Entrepreneurial Development at the Small Business Administration. And Alan works directly for our administrator, Ms. Jovita Carranza, who happens to be the Latina in the eye of the storm for this particular program. So Alan, thank you for being with us. And Alan will be joining us via phone from DC. So Alan, please go ahead. Okay, we have a small delay from Alan there. Well, are we trying to connect Alan? While we're trying to connect Alan, he was on the phone just a minute ago. Let me tell you what the SBA has been doing. Of course,
Robert, can you hear me okay now?
Oh, now we got you. Thank you for saving me there.
I should have waited and have you do the full presentation, and then I'll ask you questions.
Don't hurt me.
I heard
My
already.
apologies. I think I hit the wrong button, so now we're finally on, so I'm glad. Well, Robert, thank you very much for the opportunity to be on the call with your members across the country. Certainly, as you had mentioned in the beginning, certainly we are dealing with an unprecedented times as we stand, but certainly, you know, I could say from the top down and bottom up at SBA, we certainly are working day and night to be able to provide all the assistance and guidance and help to small businesses across the country. And certainly, you know, we stand ready in every aspect overall. I wanted to say, you know, a couple things, which is, I think, the most prevalent, which is on the Paycheck Protection Program and the latest, and then but go over a couple other items after that. And then certainly, I think if you're opening it up for questions, be glad to answer anyone. But as we all know, the president signed into law additional funding for the Paycheck Protection Program, normally as a acronym of the PPP, for small businesses and nonprofits impacted by COVID-19. As of yesterday, Monday, we opened up the system at approximately around 10:30 in the morning for approved lenders to be able to continue communicating with SBA and doing the proper processing that happens through the banks overall as it relates to the PPP. Previously, overall, the PPP supported approximately 1.6 million small businesses and protected over millions of hardworking Americans in all 50 states, the District of Columbia, and each territory. During the initial run, the SBA and Treasury, we were able to process, and if you haven't heard it, really remarkable, more than 15 years worth of loans in less than 14 days. And I will say that, you know, in a given time, you know, if we look at it, you know, there's X amount that we do on a yearly basis with our lending institution and partners, but certainly the amount of work that was done, 14 years of worth of loans in less than 14 days. And we're not holding back. We're not saying we met our accomplishment. We continue to stand ready and continue to work very closely with all our stakeholders. Businesses that have accessed the program hail from a wide variety of industries, including retail, food, hospitality, healthcare, manufacturing, and many more. Nearly overall, we have a little bit more than 5,000 lenders participating in the program, and that's including, which is very important here, many of the community banks and credit unions that otherwise had not been doing business with SBA in the past for many different reasons on their end, but we're happy and excited that they're part of the program and offering it to PPP loans to their communities in their regions that they're located. With the additional funds that was appropriated by Congress, we see that and estimate that tens of millions of additional workers across the nation will benefit from this critical relief. We encourage all the lenders to process loan applications previously submitted by eligible borrowers and disperse funds expeditiously, as quickly as possible. And what we mean by there, and that was important, I know I got a lot of calls last week, Robert, was that, you know, when we were temporarily shut down waiting for the appropriation, there was some miscommunication or thought out there, my understanding that it was us knowing what the current status is. And I think I want to take a pause here. It's important for all those that are on the call here and on Zoom, is that that your status or the current status is through your banking institution, through your lender that you're applying to. They have to go through all their underwriting criteria and making sure that everything is in order before they transmit that information to us at SBA, so we can then reply back through the systems that are coordinated to give a loan number and a thumbs up and so forth for them. Then when they receive that, then they can expeditiously be able to release the funds and approve it. So it's very important from that standpoint that we over at SBA, on the status, that is always has to go through the bank, your lending institution that you're using to apply. We are committed and continue to ensure that the American workers and small business continue to get the resources they need to get through this challenging time. Certainly, in some of the information that you've seen publicly yesterday, certainly an overwhelming. I sort of equate it to like when we go to, and so I'm sure all of us on the call has been through this experience where you're going to an amusement park and you say, I'm going to get there early because I don't want to make lines. And you get there early and there's already lines, you know, in that sense. But we made sure, and there was announcements that were done to all the lending institutions in terms of making it very fair and equitable and a percentage amount for the bigger banks to make sure that the community credit unions and other non-lending institutions that normally, you've heard of a term called fintech, financial technical institutions, like, for example, that have joined to be offering the PPP loan, like PayPal, Intuit, to name a few that have joined in that hemisphere to be able to offer that to their current clients and to others as well, respectively. So I would say that, you know, the PPP, if you haven't done so, like I said, certainly it needs to be done through the lending institution. If you're not aware or would like to know which banks or lending institutions are available, I strongly encourage you to visit www.sba.gov/paycheck protection. In there, you will see a link that will give you to find individual, lenders and so forth by your zip code in that aspect. So that was one thing I wanted to definitely, I know I threw a lot of information out there to all of you, but certainly it's open. We're working closely with all stakeholders across the country from that standpoint. The other thing I wanted to pivot a little bit as it relates to the PPP plan is, is the scams that are out there, and be aware of them. And for you or any of your circle of friends, family, business owners, acquaintances, please, please, please let them know, and for yourself as well, that we will not call you, we will not ask you for information, we will not charge you for asking you to apply for the loan or to provide any technical assistance or training. If anyone is doing that or calling you directly or asking you to pay up front to apply for any of the disaster loans or any of the loans related to COVID-19, automatically hang up the phone or do not reply back via email and provide any information to them. Unfortunately, during any challenging circumstances, there's always some bad apples out there, and there's some really bad folks scamming and trying to take advantage of individuals, small businesses during this unprecedented pandemic. And it's too bad, it's sad, but I wanted to bring that to everyone's attention because it's very, very important to be careful with all those out there that are trying to take advantage, unfortunately, of us during these circumstances. Third area, Robert, I wanted to, for all your members, is to understand the piggyback that I mentioned, that we have resources available. Now, certainly, and most certainly currently right now, it's COVID-19, how to help small businesses, where directions to go, how to get everything. We have our district offices that are 68 strong across the country and in territories available. They have been doing a phenomenal job of working with all communities to be able to provide assistance, guidance. We are a little overwhelmed, I will underscore that, but certainly we have a third leg of the stool, which is our resource partners that I oversee, which are the three lanes that I call of the Small Business Development Center, the Women Business Centers, and SCORE volunteers as well. They have been provided additional funding through the CARES Act that will enable them to be available even much more for all of you out there that need any assistance and guidance in your business of how to apply, how to respond back to certain things that you're looking into. Do I do an SBA PPP loan, or do I use the department's labor COVID release? All those type of scenarios, they all have experts that will be able to assist you on that. And all of this is free of charge. Again, underlining free of charge. You are welcome to look up any of the resource partners through our website, but instead of the / paycheck protection, you type in local assistance, and in there, a very interactive map. You type in your zip code again, and it'll give you a breakdown of all the resource partners, their phone number, and also their web link that you can see. I would strongly actually encourage you to hit their web link, because most of them are putting up any additional hotline numbers or real-time emails that you can send to individuals and so forth in chat from that standpoint. So those were the areas I wanted to go over with you, Robert, and everybody on the call. Certainly, we do have the economic injury disaster loan that is processed through our website, through SBA.gov. So what we're doing on that one, SBA will resume processing the EIDL loans and the advance applications that are already in the queue on a first-come, first-served basis. We hope to provide additional information on the availability of the EIDL portal to receive new applicants shortly. As soon as I get that, I'll be sure to provide that to not only Robert, but we'll provide it to stakeholders all across the country to make sure that everyone's aware of it. So I went a little bit more in detail there, Robert. Hopefully that helps in terms of all the areas, and I turn back the program back to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Alan. We have a number of questions that came from the audience, and I would like to start with Ms. Veronica. You know, we have a question on the stimulus payments, and if there's going to be a second round on that, and who will qualify. And attached to that is, will 17-year-olds will be able to apply for that as well or not? Veronica?
Yes, I am here. Yes. The second round of stimulus payments will be something that will be defined by Congress. We are waiting on that. Robert, I do apologize. I was answering many questions in the chat. I was typing responses in, so you kind of caught me off guard. I was doing my due diligence in responding, and that was one of those questions. But my recommendation to you is that the second round of stimulus payments is something that has to be mandated by Congress. And related to any eligibility to receive a stimulus payment, we have really good frequently asked questions on irs.gov. And I shared those with you. That is what I am forwarding to all of those individuals that I've been enjoying speaking with for the last few moments. So the frequently asked questions are really informative. They speak directly to your question. And as I had stated, they have come from practitioners and individuals. You know, the IRS is equally as challenged as all of us as we are staying home to remain safe. And unfortunately, a lot of the telephone access has been limited, as well as receiving very information spontaneous as you have in the past. So we thank you for your patience. We continue to ask that you and your family are safe. But the best answer that I can provide you with is to refer to the frequently asked questions that are on irs.gov, Robert.
Thank you, Veronica. And Veronica, another question that we have is for the people that are on Social Security, that
yes.
It had been said in the press conferences that the president had that the people will just receive the stimulus automatically in their accounts, but they're not seeing it there. Is there a time lapse for that, or what is the status on that?
To the best of my knowledge, those stimulus payments should be forwarded directly to the account that they receive their Social Security payments from. But you have to understand that there is a massive amount of processing at this time. We're also processing tax returns for the tax year ended 2019 as well. So there is a bit of a delay. I recommend that you avail yourself to the option online, Get My Payment, and that will tell you where your payment is and when it will be sent out. There's just a delay because you have to understand we are sending out a massive amount of refunds. We thank you for your patience, and we really apologize for any delay. But we just ask you to please be patient with us, and we are on the job. We're getting the job done with the resources that we have.
Thank you, Veronica. For Alan, for Mr. Gutierrez, we have a question regarding the deadline to apply for the second round of funding for the PPP. Obviously, the deadline is dictated by how much money there is in the fund. You know, originally we were told that the original fund was going to be till June 30, but the monies were exhausted incredibly fast. So I imagine it's going to be exactly the same way this time around.
That is correct, and certainly we've seen an overwhelming positive response nationwide, and working with all the lending institution. And certainly, I would say the sooner you work with your local lender, the better. If you haven't done it, go with them right away and get that application in through them. Remember, it all has to be a process and approved by your lending institution before it's sent over to us. So on the back end, it could give a stamp of approval and then sent back to the lending institution. But very important, the sooner you can, the better. We are, I will say, monitoring it. We do this anyways on a regular business-to-business day on all the other loan packages that we have. It relates to 7A and 504 and so forth. We monitor that on a daily basis because on those normal we get appropriated dollars on a yearly basis. We have to make sure that we don't run over what's appropriated. Same thing happens here with the PPP loan. We have to be very careful and cognizant that we don't extend ourselves of what has been appropriated and approved by the recent signing of the bill. So we are monitoring that on a daily basis an hourly basis since we opened up yesterday again.
Alan, for the people who applied already and they still haven't received a response, or even were declined maybe, do they have to apply again for this, or they will automatically be on the queue?
Two things. One, I will say is that on the PPP loan, your communication is directly with the lender. So they will be guiding you as you submit all your paperwork and all your information, and they have to do their due diligence as well and their underwriting criteria. So, some of them are using their own type of lending application and so forth, and that's permissible as well. So on the PPP loan, that communication, everything is between you and the lender. On the EIDL loan, which is processed, and the other lane that's processed and managed by SBA, us at SBA, certainly those are being processed on an ongoing basis, and you will be receiving email communication and information on the status of your loan once you receive it, and they'll tell you the next steps that you need to do. But you also, on that one, just to not confuse everybody, the advance of the up to $10,000 and the applying for the economic injury disaster loan, those are two separate lanes within SBA, so those are being processed concurrently on an ongoing basis from that standpoint.
And applying for one doesn't exclude you from the other, right?
On a macro level, you can apply for the EIDL loan and also the PPP loan, but you can't apply for the same subject matter. So that's something you have to be very careful on it as it relates to if you're applying on the EIDL loan and you applied it on payroll, you can't do the same on the PPP as well. So be very cognizant of that in that aspect from that standpoint. The other thing I wanted to let everyone know that we came out on, let me see, was actually this on the 24th, late 24th. But if you have different, it's a very well breakdown of frequently asked questions for a lot of your listeners and participants on the call. It's how to calculate maximum loan amounts by business type. So I know there's always a lot of questions. Well, I'm a sole proprietor, or I'm on this scenario, and so forth. And that all information is really good in terms of the how to guide you through that. And that information is available again through our website on sba.gov/paycheck protection. And you'll see towards the middle, there's different links there that relates to the frequently asked questions that are very helpful for all of you. I can resend that to you, Robert, so you can send it out far and wide to everybody.
Thank you. I have another question for you. You know, once the bank has approved the loan and sends it back to the SBA, that doesn't mean that the SBA automatically approves it?
There's a process that works on that. They are the lenders, the existing lenders and the new lenders, they've been provided all the steps of how they transmit that file, each file to SBA, so SBA can turn that around and provide a loan number in that aspect. So once that is, all the communication and everything is done on our back end, sent back to the bank, they're able to, that's where we had mentioned, we certainly encourage the banks to get the funding, and once it's approved, as quickly as possible. There is some certain days that are available for the bank to release the funds, but we certainly are encouraging them to do it as quickly as they can.
In your experience, what's the timeline for that?
You know, it all, I don't have that information, but I could say that I've seen scenarios where they submitted information, the bank approves it, everything, gets it in, and within, you know, a day or two, they get back from the bank saying that everything's ready to move forward. So it's all on a case-by-case basis, but that again, that's where we are encouraging all lenders, once they get the information back from us that it's ready to move forward, that they certainly do all as possible to get those funds to their client, to the borrower.
And how many employees should a small business have to be eligible to apply for the loan, for the PPP?
Yeah, that all depends, and that's where I wanted to certainly mention about the recent. It's dated April 26, 2020. I'm sorry, April 24th. I apologize. April 24th, which was last Friday. We loaded up additional information, and it's also on the Treasury.gov website as well. When you hit COVID, it will give you the information. But this frequently asked is how to calculate maximum loan amounts by business type. This is very detailed in terms, and tells you step by step of where to look into your IRS, if you're a 1040 Schedule C, or if you're a 1099 self-employed, if you have a joint business with other stakeholders, and there are, let's say, 20% ownership, and how to calculate it and so forth. So all this information, it gives you a very step-by-step overall in how to come up with those numbers and if you qualify or not. Remember, I also mentioned in the beginning the use of our resource partners, the small business development centers and the women business centers. They'll be glad to help you as well from that standpoint too.
Alan, there has been some press out there, and actually made the news, that minority-owned businesses were not really receiving the funds that supposedly were allocated for them, and we were seeing big companies receiving funding and then returning the money. Even JP Morgan Chase Bank was one of the ones that received a loan, and then I guess they were shamed into returning it. Is there anything else that you guys are doing to patrol that so the money goes to where it needs to go?
I will say that there was some provisions recently announced by Secretary Mnuchin and Administrator Carranza as it relates some oversights. There were some other provisions on financial institutions and publicly traded firms and so forth that on this go around on the PPP would not be permissible in that aspect. So certainly there's that component, and there's certainly the other part as it relates to the set aside as well for minority institutions and so forth to be applying those loan amounts or that set aside for minority institutions. So that is also part of the overall that was approved in the package and signed by the president.
And this is for Veronica, and then after for you, Alan. Let's talk about scams, because we hear about so many scams that, do you want to get on the front line for the PPP? You know, we can do that for you. Or, you know, how to facilitate all these other things, and all these other companies that are saying that they're lending exactly at the same rate that the SBA is putting out there. First for the IRS, because we hear this about the IRS all the time, Veronica, on how get rid of your debt to the IRS by, you know, you pay us so much and we'll reduce it, you know, 90%. What's going on with that? Veronica?
Yes. So Robert, as you are aware, and family, for any scams or debts, remember one thing: we're the Internal Revenue Service, and we have all of the information from you that we need. Sometimes if things they sound too good to be true, they generally are not. In relation to another company providing you with a better deal as far as it relates to your taxes, that's something that you need to research and get additional information on for yourself. We are unable to provide guidance on that. But as far as the economic payments go, the funds are coming directly from the Internal Revenue Service, either electronically or by mail. That is your best bet. If someone calls you and that you're not exactly too sure who they are or whether they are legitimate or not, do not provide them with any identifiable information, your bank information, where you are employed, or any other related information. When in doubt, leave it out. Just don't respond. The most important information that you have is best kept by you. So if it's something you're not sure about, or if you have any questions about that, go on irs.gov, and under the frequently asked questions, which I keep saying because they are so informative, do not allow yourself to believe that someone else can give you something that you are entitled to. Generally, when something is too good to be true, usually it is. So just remember, when in doubt, leave it out, and make sure that you are not providing that information. In the event, unfortunately, you do provide that information to someone and you are a victim of a scam, you go on www.irs.gov and you can file a claim for that information so that we can stop that from happening from other people. So just remember, for the scams, anything that you're not sure about, or if you think you're going to get a better return on your dollar, reach out to IRS and we will assist you. Also, for each state, there's a stakeholder liaison, just as myself, who will be more than happy to assist you with any questions that you have or to verify anything that you are not sure about. So make sure you go on irs.gov, which I'm sure all of us have saved as a favorite, and pull up the information for your stakeholder liaison for your area. You can call us and leave us a message or send us an email and we will reply to you. Just remember that whenever you send us anything verbal or written, especially through email, do not include any personal identifiable information. So don't include your address or your social security number or anything to that nature. But we are on top of the scams. We are trying to make sure that those things do not continue to go forward. And if there's something that you come across, make sure that you share it with us. It is so, so, so important. And that is why, if you do receive a paper economic income payment and the address information is not corrected properly, that check will be returned to IRS. So just as an example, if you go online and you select to get my payment, and it indicates that your payment has been mailed to you and you have not received it, you can go on to make sure that that your address has been changed, or if it has not, we will be more than happy to reissue you a new check. So just know that the IRS is on top of the scams, and if you have any information you'd like to share with us regarding that, make sure you forward it to us. But just remember, be very vigilant. Do not provide anybody with your information. And if you are not sure, There are stakeholder liaisons in every state that will be more than happy to provide you with assistance. And Robert, I hope I answered that question for you.
Thank you, Veronica. And if you do not have the bank information from a person, how you will just mail whatever you check. I mean, whatever you will make the payments to their address, right? Just like you normally did before.
That is correct. If you, in the event the service does not have your bank information, we will forward a paper check to you. Now, if you have filed your 2019 tax return for the current tax year, the bank information on the tax return is where your check will be sent to electronically. So we will send your payment to the bank of last record. If you owed, say for instance, and there is no bank information, as Robert had stated, then you will receive a paper check. So just make sure, if you have not, make sure that you file your 2019 tax return, and your check will be forwarded electronically to the address of record on your tax return.
Now, Veronica, what are the extended deadlines for filing for taxes this year for individuals and for businesses?
Okay. The extended deadlines for individuals is in July. And for, if I'm not mistaken, for businesses, it is October, but I will make sure that I verify that. Robert, you always have such wonderful questions, and you catch me in the middle of responding to questions online, so I have to change my thought. But that is the deadline, is July, but I will make sure that I verify that to be the case. I was looking at someone that had thought maybe that they had some additional questions that I was responding to. But Robert, you go ahead, and I will get back to you with the specifics related to that momentarily.
Thank you. And Alan, what kind of SBA scams are you seeing out there that we should be on the lookout for?
No, certainly. Well, some of them we've seen, certainly, you know, like I mentioned in the beginning, was that we're seeing that individuals saying that they're out there to assist you, and even putting our logo and so forth, and asking upfront money to be able to assist them on preparing their loan packaging, and that's just not correct, right? So we've been actively with our cybersecurity team at SBA. We work very closely with other agencies, primarily with DHS, Department of Homeland Security, to actively shut down these particular websites that we encounter or become aware of on that aspect. But as Veronica mentioned, you know, if something is too good to be true, certainly do not follow through on it. If they're asking you to pay, remember, all these services are for free. Even the loan packaging and all that you're doing with the bank, all the fees and everything included on that is not being turned over to you as the applicant. That is all being taken care of. So just be very diligent. Do not provide any information or company information or any tax information or anything that relates to it, especially on the PPP. Remember, the PPP, you're doing it either through the lending institution or through any of the new lenders that are on our website, that when you click on and submit your zip code. So very important to always validate that through our SBA.gov.
Well, I take it that from both of you, actually, one of the most important thing is don't give your information to anybody. That you basically have all the information that you need from us, and if not, you will find to contact us via secure lines. It's not going to be a phishing email like they're all over the place, especially for our elderly, that they're the victims. Most of the time, they're the victims of all these little scams and big scams, and just don't give your information out. I just want to give a reminder to everybody that this webinar is being actually taped, and you will be able to access it on our website via www.latinastyle.com. So you will be able to access it, download it, and listen again to the presentations that have been given by Ms. Tubman and by Mr. Gutierrez. And you can also submit questions to the email that you just saw on the previous screen, robertbard@latinastyle.com, and we will make sure that we forward them to the presenters, so you get and post them on our site, so you get an opportunity to further talk to them. I have a note here from the chat, actually, from the chat channel in Zoom. It says to the SBA and to all the panelists, I just want to thank the SBA for the hard work done to assist our small businesses. Our company, ANP International, was approved and funded for the bridge loan, the PPP, and the emergency stimulus fund at $1,000 per employee. Obviously, it made a huge difference to her company. So she wants to thank the SBA for the assistance. I see that Ms. Veronica has a question that she would like to answer, because she's ready with the filing extension question. So, Veronica, you want to address that?
Yes, Robert, I will address the filing extension question. So, of course, the filing and paying extension has been extended to July 15th. But in the event you still need a little bit more time to file, then make sure that you file an extension, and the extension will be granted until October 15th. Bear in mind, an extension from July 15th is an extension of time to file and not to pay. So make sure that you are making your estimated tax payments timely as before, to the best that you can, and also that you are making your federal tax deposits as well. Also, take a look at your withholding to make sure that your withholding does not need to be changed, or your filing status. Again, so an extension has been granted as a direct result of COVID-19 to July 15th. If you need additional time past July 15th, make sure that you prepare an extension of time to file to October 15th. And bear in mind, this is an extension of time to file and not to pay. So try to make sure that you get your payments in as soon as possible. And Robert, I'm turning it back over to you. Thanks again for the wonderful questions, everybody.
Thank you, Veronica. I had another question that popped up as well, is if, I think this question might be for you or the SBA, if you have kept your employees on payroll all this time, do you still have to pay the full tax withholding that on employees, or is that diminished? Veronica?
Robert, this is Alan. That wouldn't apply to us. That would be more of an IRS question.
Okay. And I think that Veronica, are you still there?
There you go.
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Yes. Oh, I seem to have run away, but I'm coming back.
Okay. The question that I had is that if you have kept your employees on salary during this time, I saw a communique that said that the filing with the withholding for employees was diminished. Is that true?
That is true. Just make sure that, because it will not totally, you will still be responsible, of course, as always, but there will be some consideration given from keeping your employees on staff. And what I was trying to do, Robert, our frequently asked questions, which I've been trying to do, we have recommended that they be numbered so that would be a very easy and quick reference to responding. So information for businesses, as we had said, the extension has been given, but there is a retention credit available for many businesses that have been impacted, and as we talked about, paying that. So there is an employee retention credit, and it's a refundable tax credit against certain employment taxes equal to 50% of the qualified wages. And that's for eligible employers that have paid their employees after March 12th of this year, Robert. So just make sure, and before January 21st. So you can get immediate access to the credit by reducing the employment tax deposits you are making. And also, if your employment tax deposits are not sufficient to cover that particular credit, then you may be eligible to get an advance payment from the IRS. So the IRS is encouraging you and applauding those individuals that are still paying their employees. And listed directly under the frequently asked questions, there is a section that says, employee retention credit available for many businesses financially impacted by COVID-19. And that was the information I just provided to you. So don't forget, go under www.irs.gov, and in the keyword section in the upper right corner of the screen, input employee retention credit, and you will get all the details related to that. In some cases, you may be able to qualify up to almost 50% for the credit for those employees that have been paid through March 12th of this year to January 1st of next year. So make sure you go on there and avail yourself to that. Back to you, Robert.
Thank you so much, Veronica. You know, I think we're getting to the time where we're wrapping up, and we are asking our audience to please take a poll that we have set up for you. So the next time that we have a webinar like this, our participants or presenters have a better idea on how to target their responses even more than they have now. I would really like to encourage you to do that. It will make a big difference. At the same time, I would really like to thank you, Veronica. I know that working from home and with all the things that are going on is extremely hard. Alan, thank you so much. I hope that the next time that we have a webinar, we can see your face on the screen. Both of you have been very, very informative. Once again, I would like to remind everybody, this webinar has been taped, so it will be available on our www.latinastyle.com website for you to be able to download, and so you can look at any information that you think that you've missed. At the same time, we encourage you to submit your questions to Robert Bard at latinastyle.com, and we will try to get all the questions answers that you have. Just make sure that you provide your correct email and information so we can make that information available to you correctly. From all of us at Latina Style, we would really like to thank you for the work that you're doing at the IRS and the work at the SBA. I know it must be overwhelming. For you, Alan, please extend our appreciation and our thanks to Jovita Carranza, the highest ranking Latina in the President's administration, for the wonderful job that you guys are doing. We understand that the task is tremendous, and you must be going at it 100% with very little sleep. Veronica, the only thing that you could make better, it would have been for the IRS to tell us that we would forego taxes for the next 2 years. And that would have been, a tremendous impetus for the economy and for the people as well. But for us, thank you so much. And thank you for all the information that you will keep providing us throughout the year. This is not ended. This hasn't ended by any means. For those of you who joined us, thank you so much. And for those of you who are still having questions, please do not forget. And We will all get through to this. There's got to be a light at the end of the tunnel. And on a personal note, I want to tell you that if you feel really down and out, listen to the aria from the opera Turandot by Luciano Pavarotti called Nessun Dorma, and it will inspire you, it will lift your spirit, and it will lift your heart. And the next time that we connect, let's all of us be in a better place. Thank you so much.